Oracle. What should they call her? What should they call her? Oracle. Hey, 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 hey. Wealthy Risings. Happy Thursday. Whatever time it is, morning, noon, or night, where you are. Thank you for joining. For those of you on TikTok who can't see, I'm naming this video, Are Y'all Okay? Crash Out Begins. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is how is everybody doing? Yesterday was a full moon, right? I believe it was a full moon. Oh, thank you, Johnny. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Kay. Hey, Kay. So, oh Lord, I'm not doing okay. Right? No, listen. That's my point, right? That I wanted to talk about that, because I know that there are a lot of people who are struggling. What's good, Tawanda? Patricia says, oh my God, and tell me why I'm feeling so much anxiety right now. I cannot sleep. Yes, I also feel like I'm crying and I cannot. Listen, I've been waking up crying too. You're not alone, okay? Project Execute. What's good, honey? So listen, whether you are going through something personally or not, for those of us who are empaths, we're feeling this energy very heavily. Okay. And we may all have different, like slight different variations depending on what is specifically in your chart. And even some areas could be working for you positively. Okay. That doesn't mean that you're not experiencing some difficult energy. Okay, so I wanted to start off by saying that, because there is some very challenging energy afoot, and I normally don't do like I do on Fridays, and my Patreoners know on Fridays I do breaking news. I may do it Saturday this morning, just because it's Valentine's Day and my boo honey might want to do something. We'll see what goes on with that. But Spirit has led me to just check on my community, okay, at large, and talk about some of the things, because there's so much coming at us and there could be a lot of things that we're missing. Okay. Like, did you hear that there's like, and it's not right now, so it's not fear mongering. Okay. It's not fear mongering in any way, but they're talking about an asteroid, gonna hit the earth at, what was it, 2032. Okay. And like, it's a, right. There's that. We have the ACT bill. What's good, cheerfully sweet? The SAVE Act, where they're trying to limit, what you can use or add to what you need to use to vote. Right. Then they also have another bill that I just heard about today, Bill 7, that is going to has two things in it that we need to take pause in. The first is that your health, it sounds like they're going to be they're advertising it like they're looking out for women's health, but really what Bill 7 is saying is that your family, i.e. your spouse, your family has rights to has rights basically to whether or not you know your medical decisions. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple examples why that doesn't work, right? But let's say that there's that in the bill, and then in addition to that being in the bill, there is also that spiritual concepts can be part of that decision making. Meaning, let's say if your partner, right, objects for spiritual reasons to medical care that you feel you need, then that could be, that could prevent you from receiving that care. Okay, so give you an example. Let's say you're a senior citizen. Let's say you have 2 kids. Let's say you have one kid that is not really financially great at taking care of things, but they are very responsible as far as like being a caregiver, right? And then you have the other child who is very financially savvy, right? But maybe not very caring, right? So let's say you put it so that way the caring child is making your medical decisions, but the other child is making your financial decisions. Now, one child could be saying, well, it's time to turn off the machine, right? Because they want to make the financial decisions, right? Or vice versa. You're saying, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And the family is like going to keep you on because they have access to your finances or whatever, religious beliefs. So don't just think that this is only something that can affect women, because although that's the intention, understand that a lot of times when they're making these rules, they don't even realize how it negatively affects them. So I just wanted to, put that caveat out there. Okay, this law is in itself is wrong. Okay. But there would be many different ways where even that aspect could be abused, is my point. Okay, so I just wanted to start with that. So I kind of wanted to talk about how you guys are feeling. How are you coping with your anxiety? Because I know that that's the largest part, right? The feeling of not knowing how something will come out can be very destabilizing. And I feel like that may be part of why they're doing things in the way that they're doing them, because it will destabilize, right? So I am going to, let's see how the inner child is doing. Right? Because isn't that the part that first I feel gets activated? Right? By feeling under attack. And then that puts us in a fight or flight or freeze. Right? That's the feminine. Let's go for the inner child deck. Where is that? Here it is. Inner child deck. Let's see how we are doing. Spirit. show me how, on a whole, the collective is doing and coping with all this anxiety and this upheaval? Spirit, can you show me? Okay, so you got 3. Okay, you got listen, 25. Your inner child has something to say. Number 3, be present, find clarity in the moment. And then at the bottom of the deck, you have number 9, connect to eternity within. Let yourself be held by love. Okay, so I'm going to show both cameras the card. Okay. And I feel like this is an ancestor for sure. Okay. And it feels like a little girl. Okay. I feel like this can be something about a child that didn't have enough. There's a sense of lack. Some of yous might have even had, like, let's say it could have been your sibling or it could have been your mother's sibling, right? Or your father's sibling, right? Grandparents. But I feel like there was a child in one of these generations that died early. And by today's standards, it could feel like that could have been avoidable. So let's say this could be something that could have been cured with today's situation. Okay, they're just showing me right now. Okay, so you know that RFK just got confirmed. So let's say that this could be a child that there was a medicine that wasn't instituted yet, like a vaccine or something. Okay, just stick with me for a second. Right, so whether it's a vaccine or it is a surgery that they do now, or whether it was lack of insurance, whether it was a flu, okay, that actually, was in my family. Right, I feel like there's something about it coming back around, right? Or like the ancestors, like kind of warning us to pay attention to, like, back into time, right? And that reminds me that there was an article saying that they have just really found a way to teleport, right? And doesn't it kind of feel like we've teleported? Keep it a buck. Right? Do you feel like you're in the right space right now? Right? Because they're trying to push us back. We're in the age of Aquarius and they're trying to take us back into another timeline. And I feel like there's a part of us that is being triggered, the inner child. And some of you might be saying, like, okay, don't be so nervous or don't be so triggered. Or these could be people telling you that as you're trying to tell them what the fuck is happening. Right? And there could be a big part that has to do with how your fear is being triggered, and you could be trying to say, or somebody else could be trying to say to you, don't worry, right? And it could be, you could be battling yourself, like, is this me that is feeling the anxiety, or is this my ancestors, right? I think it's both. I think it's both. Okay. And then we have be present here. Find clarity in the moment. For all of yous on TikTok, go over and follow me on YouTube, because I really feel that TikTok will not be here much longer. Okay? So be present is here. Find clarity in the moment. This is part of what's going on. Do not think that you are delusional for allowing yourself to feel the different vibrations, because it's not a steady vibration of fear. You're going to have hopeful moments. You're going to have fearful moments. You're going to have angry moments. You're going to have sad moments, right? So what Spirit is kind of telling you is allow yourself to process those feelings as they're coming up. Don't be in denial. Don't question your intuition or if what you're feeling is real, because other people are not at the point where they don't want to deal with that, whether it's not in their timeline, whether it is in their timeline, and they don't want to look at it, whether they're overwhelmed, whether they're being delulu, whether they think you're delulu. Okay? Right now, none of that is really important. I know it may feel very pressing. It may feel like an emergency. And there is an air of an emergency, right? But that emergency, or that feeling of emergency, is coming between you and your ancestors in regards to your next steps and the clarity that you need to traverse a particular situation. Okay? And if somebody else is not getting that message, or if you have given them that message and they refuse to process that, or if they are in the shoot the messenger energy. You ever told somebody the truth about some shit they didn't want to hear? You ever did that? That is a thing right now, right? So if you attempt to have a conversation with somebody and they dismiss that situation, even though we all can see that the world is on fire, let them be. It's not your job, no matter who this person is, to bust their bubble, to feel like you have to bring them along. Go now, the song is dying. Oh, right. I don't even know if that's the words, but that's what I'm hearing, right? So Spirit's telling you to follow your intuition. Look at that. Must be an angel in the morning, angel. I'm hearing that right now, right? It's very important that you continue with your mission or your intuition or what you're guided to be doing, because for others that right now are struggling for whatever reason, whether they're going to make it back to the main road or they're not, right? The best thing you can do is like get yourself shored up, So that if they do come to the realization that you can be of assistance, then should you decide to. The problem is that as that is occurring, it can be very hurtful. It can be very hurtful for the empaths. I want to talk to the empaths for a minute. It could be very hurtful for the empaths because let's say that you're waking up crying from the energy, right? And you could have a partner who is not empathetic and who's like, why do you get up like that? Like you could actually be triggering them and causing them to feel anger, right? Now you might feel like, well, that's just exposing them for their limitedness, and it may be, right? But at the same time, you can't force them to, right? So then that puts you to think about, regardless of who these people are, is the level of openness or care or dedication that you have to feeling responsible, or maybe not responsible, maybe you feel in a way like, well, because I'm an empath, it's very important to me that I assist others with how they feel because of the way I can feel how they feel. What's good, Mel, right? But here's the shocker. They may not feel dedicated to concerning themselves with how your empathy is affecting you. I want you to process that, because as empaths, we're constantly aware of our loved ones' feelings, sometimes more than our own. What's good, official Venus? And we spend an exorbitant amount of time worrying about our loved ones, right? And everyone has a different emotional capability. So it can be very jarring to my empaths to come to a realization that those that they are constantly worried about are not as concerned about them in reverse. Does that make sense? Thank you so much for the love. Does that make sense? Okay. And whether it is of a lack of concern, whether it is a lack of empathy because they're not empathetic in the way that you are, whether it is, none of those things matter. Not at this time. Okay? So later you can always say, I understand why you were not emotionally available. But like this image is showing you, you have to shore yourself up. You have to shore yourself up. Because right now, whether it is by choice, by accident, by inability, some people are not going to be able to meet the moment for you. And in some ways, maybe that's a good thing. Instead of, I know that it can be jarring, it can be upsetting, but maybe it's a good thing for you to recognize that you have to regulate yourself, and that maybe you've been overgiving, right? And that could be hard. That can be very hard. We're going to talk about what's under the deck. At the bottom of the deck, number 9, connect to the eternity within. Let yourself be held by love. The ancestors say, okay, I'm going to hold this up for you to see. The ancestors are showing you. I'm going to show each camera individually. Do you see all those orbs around her? Do you see all the orbs? There's a need. You appreciate this check-in so much at this time. Hasheo, right? So listen. There's a need for some type of spiritual ritual that you do for yourself, okay? Doesn't matter what faith you are. Okay, this could be with incense, but I really feel it's a bath related, okay? Okay? I feel like this is also, like when you do it, you should pour out some libations. If you can go outside after you emerge from this bath. Tonight is a great night. Yesterday was the full moon. We're still in the full moon energy. And understand that with that bath that you are releasing disappointment. You are releasing grief. You are releasing burden. You are releasing heartache. You're releasing lack, fear. I want to show you something else. Okay, I'm going to show each camera individually. This looks to me, sorry, I'm trying to get all three in the camera, like this little girl, okay, whether it be, has gone through a journey. If you see it like that, sorry, I'm trying my best, okay? Gone through a journey to come to the point where she can rebirth herself. Do you see that? Do you see that? Come to a journey where she can rebirth herself. It hasn't always been an easy journey. And then I hear, it'll all work out, right? There's people in your life right now that are in your life solely for the purpose of some shit that wasn't wrapped up in the last one. And that could be a friend, a lover, a family member, right? And that at any given moment, a chapter can close, whether it is through transition, completion, ascension, right? And to be able to walk through this life right now, light as a feather. And with the situations that we have in front of us right now, and how it seems that this whole world has been sent back to another time, and we're repeating cycles. Make the decision to stay present, to love in the moment with what you have and what you can Share and leave the rest where it is. Why do I say that? Because some people aren't coming on the mission, and even if they do, they might double back much later. And right now, your part is to focus on you right now, and the conversation that you're having with your ancestors as regards to how your footsteps need to be guided. And for those of you that, because my Patreon knows, I've been telling them for 2 years to get ready. Right? I've been telling them for 2 years to get ready, if not longer. Okay? We've been talking about how there were going to be chapters that we were going to have to go through alone. And it's not that we are physically alone, although sometimes you may find yourself in situations like that. It's not that you are physically alone. It's that spiritually you may be alone or walking a path by yourself, so that you can strengthen that conversation with your guides right now. I know that all of you can feel your telepathy coming back online. Okay, let's see what else Spirit wants us to take. Yeah, let's take the secret of the ancestors. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So this is the order. You got 3 cards again. Okay, 4 counting the bottom of the deck. What's good, Ruby? Okay. We have here the deviant, chaos and destruction, and it came out in reverse. Okay, showing each camera. Okay. And when I hold it up in the upright, this is the card of the tarot. Of the tower. It's number 16 reduces to a 7. Now I want to say that there is there's a big orb here. Okay. We have been having volcanoes, earthquakes, natural disasters. Also, this is a 9-year. Okay. So there's some Oya energy. That's not number 9, but getting that turbulent, chaotic frequency. Should we read them? Why not? Right? Let's see what Spirit wants to say about number 16. Upheaval. Now remember, this is in reverse, okay? Upheaval. Your life is on fire right now. It is about to burn down, but the great news is that the sun will rise tomorrow. How are you going to handle this? That is the magical question. The worst thing you can do right now is to resist the drastic shifts coming your way. It is all crashing, but that's okay. Don't get numb or avoid it. Feel your feelings, your trauma responses of flight, and freeze. We already just talked about that, right? Or people pleasing will be in effect. Know that this moment will pass and things will get better. Ancestral memory. The deviant is depicted as the Ogu Yorugu, the Dogon god of chaos and disorder, who rode the Milky Way in an arc to Earth. Ogo, the twin brother of the goddess Yasigi, also appears as a jackal and vindictive, raping and murdering rival. What's good, Pink Petal Magic, right? Ancestral medicine. We all have monsters, abusers, and enslavers in our bloodlines. Are you not you are not your past, and you are not your family. Forgive yourself. Give yourself the gift of trauma healing therapist, coach, or practice. Now, the shadow aspect of this card, which is the reversed meaning, which is how it came out. You have been delaying the inevitable. Dancing around chaos doesn't work. You can't sidestep the madness. Okay? So the declaration is, I am ready. So, there is an air here right now. What's good, Rose? Of wanting to not have to face. Everybody's kind of looking at each other. So, like, who's going to do something? Like, who's going to say something? Right? Who's going to stop this situation? Who's going to make them come to their senses? Right? That would be us avoiding the inevitable. Right? So we have here the matriarch, number 3. Nurture the harvest. I have been telling y'all for the very longest, you need to plant things. You need to start planting. Okay? The best way to cultivate with your ancestors is through a living altar, which means plants. Okay? Especially if they bear food for you to eat. Even if you have to do it in buckets in your house, it's going to become imperative now. This is the season right now to start planting. Okay? This is also, a return to communal living, okay? And we're going to have to start doing that. This could be bartering things. Okay? Let's look at number 3. And, a large part of what you see missing from today's society is the feminine frequency, okay? So there was a time when we were a matriarch society, and I feel like there is a need to bring that back, okay? You are fertile with possibilities. You are safe and blessed. Have faith in your ability to bring forth beauty, prosperity, and harmonious relationships. Allow yourself to tap into creative potential. Explore creative outlets. Nurture yourself and others with kindness and compassion and love. Free yourself from the need to justify your existence. You are heir to the fortune of wealth that the matriarch ancestors brings. You will allow yourself to receive. Will you allow yourself to receive your riches? Will you allow the blessings in? Ancestral memory. The matriarch is depicted by the Maasai elder overlooking her beloved village of Burkina Faso. This ancestral energy is loving, charismatic, fertile, beautiful, nurturing, and rooted in the divine feminine. The matriarch is deeply connected to the mother nature, and you are the child wrapped in safety of her loving bosom. Ancestral medicine. For many of your ancestors, vulnerability was not allowed. Allow yourself now to be vulnerable in their honor and to honor yourself, my child. We are taking care of you and yours. Trust is the sumptuous abundance that surrounds you, and cultivate gratitude for the blessings. Okay. And then it says, this is the Empress. All right. And the declaration is, I am nurturing, abundant, and fertile with possibilities. Right. So Spirit is also saying that this is a fear aspect from not knowing what is going to occur. But your ancestors are saying, but have I not carried you up until this point? Have I not covered you up until this point? It kind of going like with the footprints in the sand poem, where you're like, I only see one set of footprints, and then and Jesus is like, because I carried you, right? Well, whatever faith you're in, right? It's that type of message to say you were never walking alone. You were the child I carried in my bosom. And although there have been challenges and lessons that you must learn, I have not left you without. Okay, so we have creature of fire here. Okay, number 24, and it says choose freedom. And I keep telling y'all, right, the last few times that I've come on live for the general public, that right now we're being still because there's like something that we need to unravel. Okay, and the reasons that we're here. So what Spirit is saying is that we're being activated through our ancestral memory, but we don't know how to care for ourselves. We have lost the connection to the ancestors. We have lost the ability to maybe harvest, so many ways that we would have spiritually been protected, right? And although they are protecting us, it's like they want us to remember the methods, because we're gonna fight for a right to party, right? So I feel like what Spirit is saying is that in a way, this is kind of occurring so that we're not just activated in our DNA with fear, but that we're also activated with the knowledge of the alchemy that our ancestors had to overcome those situations. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's read number 24. Creature of fire, choose freedom. And I feel like the message with that is because there is coming a time where we will be standing up. Trust and believe that shit. Okay? Trust and believe that. Right? I heard another creator say something to the effect of like, we need to stop saying we're not our ancestors. When we say that, what we're referring to is we ain't gonna be on nobody's field. Okay? But I am my ancestors. As a matter of fact, I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. Okay? I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. And up until this point, I have dedicated myself in honoring them and walking in that. And that hasn't always been easy. There's a lot. And thank you, Spirit. We about to see who the real believers are. That's the other reason why this is all occurring. We're about to see who the real believers are. Because there's a lot of people right now online and they want to, do tarot, or they want to light their little candle, right? They want to do those things and they want to be part of something because they feel that it's trendy right now. But when the tide changes, and as we enter a season of basically like winter, right? Where you have to have the knowledge for the harvest, and right, a lot of those people are gonna they're gonna turn. Okay, they're gonna turn and they're gonna be saying, oh, that's no good, yada yada yada, right? And they're gonna be running for a savior, if you're following what I'm saying. Okay? Whatever your belief system is, right? Like I'm in the ATRs. You know when you're really in the ATRs? When you've gone through some shit, like some real shit, and you didn't pack up and bounce out. Okay? Because there's going to be a lot of that very shortly. And then the ones that are staying, what's good, Doug? Okay? And then the ones that are staying, they're going to be the real ones. So I just wanted to tell you that. Okay? So let's read this 24. Look at you riding up on your own white horse. Didn't I say that we were, going to have to, fight for ourselves, or that nobody's coming, or that we're all waiting for something, right? Look at you riding up on your own white horse. You are a leader. Your vision for personal liberation is clear. Your passion is fired up, and we are full steam ahead. Your enthusiasm and your confidence are magic. In matters of love, you may not be able to distinguish love from lust, and you may not even care. This energy is irresistible. In matters of career, your lust for life is propelling you forward. Get ready for change. The moment is ripe to make a shift happen. Ancestral memory. The creature of fire is the animal spirit lion. Mumbai, Nahanda channeled Mohondro, an ancestral lion spirit, in her battle against the colonizers of Zimbabwe. Ancestral medicine. My beautiful child, sometimes your intense fiery energy can be all over the place. You're quick to anger. Get grounded. Go to nature and put your feet in the earth, the sand, or the ocean. Touch grass. It's great to be bursting with energy, but calm down and take a moment. You are doing too much. Okay, now you know it's something when spirit tells you you're doing too much, right? Now the declaration for this, what's good, Nene, is I am on fire. I make it happen. Okay. So now, soon we will come out of the shadows. Soon, right? And this will be, remember I said we are our ancestors, right? You see that, like that lotus flower in the back, right? At the bottom of the deck, okay, you have here root of earth, inspired action. Okay, so they just told us to root. I feel like we are going to be rooting in a way that stands firm in power. I'm on fire, and you're my every desire. A living fantasy, right? I feel like your ancestors are singing that, right? A living fantasy. A living fantasy. You're your ancestors' wildest dreams. Okay, let's get into another deck. Okay. Now, back to a reading I did a while ago. And if you haven't been with me that long, you can probably go back on YouTube and find this reading on my channel. But go watch Bloodlines. Go watch Bloodlines. Okay. Why do I say that? Because that video was about the karma of lifetimes and the karma that we do and that we create for ourselves and our lineage, and how, why, and how you can observe these shutting down of bloodlines. And that's what that video is about. And what you are going to notice is that a lot of bloodlines are going to get shut down right about now. And although they may think that it's a particular segment of society, I do not feel that. I actually feel like there will be a series of events that are due to the decisions made by particular people that are meant to affect certain populations, and that it actually ends up affecting their own bloodlines. They're talking about some kind of confirmation. They're talking about some kind of medical situation that was already taken care of, whether this is like polio or measles or rubella, whatever, right? And it feels like because of a shutting down, it feels like something comes back. Baby, come back. You can blame it all on me because I was wrong, right? I feel like I'm seeing Middle America. I'm seeing, and I don't even know how long we'll have those, right? But I'm seeing school buses. Okay. This feels like a bacteria. This may be things that we say like, how the fuck could that happen? Like, that hasn't been around in a long time. Yeah, but if it's shifted back to states, and depending on the state, and if they don't have the funding and they can't sanitize things the way they used to sanitize things, or right, whatever the case may be, I see I see like hazmat suits coming in to sterilize something, whether this is a school or places or whatever. But I feel like due to somebody dropping the ball purposely or otherwise, there it feels like there's some situations that arise. I'm still standing better than I ever been, looking like a true survivor, feeling like a little kid. All right, Spirit, let's take some tarot. You're going to see a rise in boycott. Let's talk about, and I'm gonna say one because I meant to talk about this. I did a little short video about it, but I want to I may mention this shit every live going forward. There's a boycott by the Mexican community against Coca-Cola because they fired their undocumented workers. But not only that, they fired them, but they also called ICE on them so that when they went out to the parking lot, to go home because they had just been fired, that they would be picked up by ICE. Meaning, most places you work, you don't get your check, your last check that day. It's like a week later. But if they're deported, they can't even get that, right? So, grimy shit, right? So everybody was talking about should we ban or should we boycott Coca-Cola as well? And I want to refresh some memories, okay, for my Gen Xers, okay? And I want to bring something to the attention of my younger generations who may not be aware of this. Okay, this should help you decide whether you should boycott Coca-Cola. Did you know that Coca-Cola supported apartheid? In 1986, I was 15 years old. I really didn't know much about apartheid, but I knew that it was wrong and that it felt to me like a form of slavery. And when I heard this, and they weren't the only company, there was a couple of other companies that was rocking with it too, okay? But specifically, we found out that they had been supporting them for quite some time. And so because of that, a lot of my generation, we stopped drinking Coke and we started drinking Pepsi. I became like a Pepsi fiend, right? But it was originally due to the fact that they supported apartheid. Okay? So now they've shown their true colors again. And like I said, they fired their undocumented workers, but then they also doubled down by calling ICE on those workers as they got out of work from just getting fired so they could get also deported. Now, they could try to play like they didn't know, but then let's talk about 1986 and how they was doing, they were supporting apartheid then. Right? So when I came to hear about the new boycott, right, I was like, you know what? Let me look at the information again about when this happened because I couldn't remember what year it happened. And I had put in, yeah, and they have production sites in Mexico. Correct. What's good, Beagle? Right? So like I was saying, right? This isn't new history with them. This is not new history with them because they were doing this in the 80s. And when I went to go look it up, it basically, they rephrased it because you know that they be, washing a lot of the internet and history, right? So basically it said, Coca-Cola was the first to abandon apartheid, but they didn't want to, right? So I phrased it differently. I said, why did Coca-Cola stop supporting apartheid? And then it said, because they were the first to be boycotted. So you see how they were trying to make it seem like they were the first and they did it on their own volition. They did not do it on their own volition. It was Generation X who was boycotting them. Because you got to remember that Generation X was also, the colors of Benetton, right? We wanted to be all together, right? So, I just want to remind my viewers, okay, about all these companies that are doing this. We have to stand together and remember that, right? So, you know, we got a two-time offender is what I'm saying. They've done it to several communities, right? So they definitely can make the list, is what I'm saying. Okay. Can you show me? You got the Eight of Swords. You got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Money might get really iffy. Four of Cups. Temperance. Okay. Judgment. Six of Swords. A straight card. Under that, the Two of Pentacles and the Fool. Okay, so this and the Eight of Cups. So this is a another opportunity to break out of some systems. Okay, so you got the Eight of Swords. This is the community right now. Okay, and this is feeling all tied up or bounded or a situation of our own making. Okay, one way that this situation could be our own making is that we have become too reliant on systems that really aren't built to assist us. They're made to make us dependent, right? And fear of change can be the thing that causes us to freeze and not want to respond to something. But on this card, okay, the Eight of Swords, she's not nobody. She can untie herself should she choose to. And so this is why some of our comforts that we're not used to having are going to be removed, because Spirit is saying this is how we do it, right? So there's a system that is being used to put vulnerable populations in predicaments that without certain aid, that they are left no other recourse but to go and comply and be hand to mouth and have to take whatever scraps at whatever table, whether they are GMO or non-GMO, or if there is an unhealthy or trickery aspect, right? And the way that they do that is there's going to be mass situations with employment, mass situations with people needing assistance that is no longer there, or the things that they were relying on before. Do you understand? But what's going to happen is that many of us spiritual baddies that woke up, right, or that have been waking up but really strongly came online in 2020 is the Four of Cups. Do you see? I'm going to show both cameras. Like, I don't want your stinking cup. I don't know what you got in that cup. I don't want your cup. I don't want your blanket. I don't want your free shit. I'm over the excuses. Her sweatshirt says over it. I'm over the excuses and the shenanigans, okay? And how I work for Four Cups. I work for Four Cups, the four pillars of stability, right? And then before I even get my check, or however you work it out through the system, you take three of the columns of stability. You give me one cup and tell me that I should be fucking happy, as long as I'm getting it from you, and that I shouldn't ask for no fucking questions. Okay? Now you could look at this card another way. This could be ancestors giving you one card, like fuck them their three cups. I'll make sure I give you a cup. because you was listening to me the whole time when I was telling you, don't get, right? Give you another way. Oh, they don't want you to drink from that fountain? Don't drink from that fucking fountain. That fountain ain't no fucking good anyway. We're going to have our own fountains and our own wells and our own properties and our own farms. And then who zoom in who? And you might find that the ones that show up with hand to mouth are not who the fuck you thought it was supposed to be. Boop. Right? Because somebody's been filling their own cup and they've been listening to their ancestors and they've been figuring out how to be self-reliant, how to work with their ancestors, how to keep what's good, Monica, my love, right? How to keep ourselves together, right? That was the plan. You thought we was going to come running to you, right? Because like I said, we're going to stop saying I'm not my ancestors, right? Because they're like, nah, your ancestors, you're going to come right back the way we expect you to. And we're going to turn around and say, nah, you're right. We are our ancestors, but we're our ancestors' wildest dreams. Okay? We're who our ancestors was waiting for. All right? We don't have to get that. We don't need what you're going to give us. Right? And in actuality, without our free labor, who will be under judgment? Who will be feeling that karma? Who will be meeting their maker? Okay, the Six of Swords. Because if history ain't shown us nothing, it showed us that we find a way, right? Ain't that what it shows us? Right? So doesn't that tell you that what is meant to bring us into compliance is going to have us walk away? Because the high priestess in all of us has been activated. And the reason why we're sitting this out right now is because we are calibrating and we are commiserating. We are being coded and downloaded with the knowledge, not just the DNA, but now the knowledge of our ancestors, so that we know Four of Pentacles, hold back, so we know how to resist. Right? Here goes the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. Woo! First off, I'm getting the King and the Queen of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. A lot of relationships are in a make or break stage right now. And a lot of couples that are trying to say it in a lot of disenfranchised couples, melanated couples, or disenfranchised communities, vulnerable communities. These people are going to try to mend their relationships because come together right now. Right? Families are going to pull together. and the burdens that were meant for others are going to hit another community. Okay? And I feel like with this 9 of Wands, I'm going to show each camera. Okay? So you got these women over here who are going through something. Okay? They are being negatively affected. You see, they don't have anybody around them. Okay? You see, this woman is in self-defense. You see how this woman doesn't know to defend herself. Okay, she's just burdened, right? But these women here, they know how to defend themselves. Now, this woman doesn't have enough. 7 of Pentacles. She's not shored up. Okay, but there are some women who are. Some women are going to help other women who can't help themselves. And the Strength card is represented here by the Divine Mother or the feminine energy. Okay, we're going to have options, although they may not be fabulous options. Okay, but the option is to make it another day, make it a little further, make it through. So here you have the King of Wands. Okay, this is there is a Gemini in that seat right now. 5 of Pentacles and the Devil. The pain is the point, not just here, everywhere, right? And underneath that, you had the Ace of Cups and the 9 of Cups. So what was meant to harm is going to, in the end, help those that it was meant to harm. Okay? And it's actually going to cause people to change their minds. You have the Fool here, Page of Cups, Ace of Swords, the Hermit, and the King of Swords. Okay? I feel like the first pieces to fall will be in April. It'll be the catalyst or the height of a situation. That'll be the precipice of the beginning of the end. The precipice of the beginning of the end. Okay, the beginning of the beginning of the end. Okay? I feel like once we get to North Node being in Aquarius, that's when the real age of Aquarius really kicks in, and we're really more harnessed into this age of Aquarius, because I feel like the first 18 months when the North Node is in Pisces, it's a 19-year transit Pluto in Aquarius, right? So I feel like this first part, we're kind of a little bit in shock from all the shit, right? You got to also think that North Node in Pisces is talking about what's hidden, what needs to be revealed so we can move forward. So all this got to come up. I feel like it really kicks off in April, and that makes sense because the last eclipse energy that happens on the Libra Aries axis is going to happen in March. So right after that, we're fully entrenched, right? April is the beginning of the end of a situation coming to a head. I feel like when which that would bring us to like maybe October of 2026 or so, when we begin. It's a cruel summer. So it feels like sometime next summer to October will be when we wrap it up, B. And I feel like at that point, that will also be like the midterms. You follow? So whether that's because there isn't a midterms and people say that's it, or there is a midterm and we clean up house, it's going to happen. But something well before that is going to come this April, after this March final eclipse on the Aries Libra axis. Okay? Once that occurs, then you will start to see movement. Now, which movement that is, we will have to wait and see. But sometimes negative things happen so that the public or the masses feels an urgency to take action. And that is when I feel like we will be motivated in April to take action. And it's very strange because April 17th, Mars goes back into Leo and will be juxtaposed to Pluto. Once again, bringing that conflict to life. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So, and by the end of this year, right, Uranus is starting to finish up its transit, right? It's in its last degrees with Taurus, right? So all this overlap. So just know that we're coming close. Right now, we're staying still because we're supposed to be processing where this shit lives in our vessels, how we feel about it, what our ancestors want us to know, what actions we need to take forward, who's coming with us, who isn't capable of making the journey, who are the front line, who are we protecting. There's so many factors. Okay, that's what we're right. So what's an example of like who we're protecting? Did y'all see the halftime show? What emerged from that? And also what emerged from, the Not Like Us is that although Kendrick may not be a politician, he is one of our leaders. And then he must be protected, right? So you see what I'm, right? So we have to protect the arts and those voices that are there to uplift the community and bring messages of unity, right? All those kind of factors, right? We may be deciding like, oh, you know what? The dismantling of education is a bridge too far. Thank you, Calvin. Right? So we're going to protect, our cultural leaders. We're going to protect our spiritual leaders. We're going to protect our children. Right? Right now, this is what we should be deciphering while we're being told to sit it out, right? Spiritually speaking, right? Ancestrally speaking, we're being told that it's not time to come to the front, right? So if it's not time to come to the front, then we should be, really processing, because we do know that we will have to, at some point, emerge. But we want to emerge with sound mind, sound decision making. And we cannot ask for unity from other groups even in our own groups, right? Like we might all get the assignment, right? Whether it's 92%, 78%, I think it was 60 something percent of female Latinos, 67 or something like that, of female Latinos voted at, you know, as a cohesive unit, right? So whatever group you belong to, even in those groups, right, we may be showing up for different reasons, right? So if we start with that starting point that, hey, before I go asking whether it's somebody in my own group or someone from an adjacent group or an aligning group or even a, you know, an opposing group, before I can ask them what, you know, for a unity, I need to unify some of my own cognitive dissonance that is inside of me, some of my own traumas that could be opposing the mission that I'm trying to, you know, achieve for myself, right? Also, like, am I in alignment with what I want to be? Is my fear making me reticent? These are all conversations that we should be having right now internally. What do I believe? What do I stand for? Right? And I have told this, I believe, to my Patreon, but I have been thinking immensely about my grandfather who served in World War II and whose unit was like the Latino equivalent. It was a segregated unit, but the Latino equivalent of the Tuskegee Airmen. And they actually closed down 2 concentration camps. And I was very, very triggered by all the things that I have been seeing recently, right? And I know now, in this time that I've been sitting here, that it's not just that it offends me morally, right? It's not just that it offends me morally. It's not just that I find this repulsive. It's not just that my, you know, my belief in that which was instilled in me is being shattered by the fact that it doesn't seem that the majority wants to stand against this, right? It's my actual grandfather on my neck. Like, y'all gotta do something. Right? So it's both. And take some time to live in that and to understand that and to process that. Okay? Hold on one second. So, okay. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that you may be having a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of unresolved anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of crying, a lot of anger is possible, right? A lot of apathy is a sign of depression. You understand? So just be present and know that it's not just your emotions, Okay, that it's not just your sensitivities. It's not just that you somehow are weaker than everybody else. Okay, we're all going through this, and our ancestors are trying to communicate with us actively right now. What's good, Lorraine? Right, they're actively trying to communicate with us, right? And it's okay to process that. Allow that to happen. Okay. Spirit, do you want to give them? Okay, you want to use the past life? Okay, then we'll go from there. The emptiness is you said I can't even ask anything anymore. I feel empty, right? And I feel like the emptiness is coming from like us shutting down because it's a lot going on, right? But we don't have to. Like, what we need to do is be still enough to hear an internal conversation and process all that which we are feeling, because action time is coming. Okay? And you'll serve yourself better if you go ahead and have that cry, or go ahead and say, yeah, I realize now that what I'm feeling is not only okay to be upset for whatever reason, but that there's a part of me physically that is tied to my ancestors that's screaming and saying, this is not okay. Right? And let me say, I want to say something, because I know that not only melanated, yes, the majority of my viewership is melanated people. Right? But let's talk about our Caucasian counterparts who also, especially if they were poor, right? And whose ancestors probably undoubtedly went through the Depression and was probably eating fucking potatoes, right? So maybe their ancestors are feeling triggered in the sense like, yo, everything's going to take a left turn and there's not going to be enough food. Okay? So I don't want to make this solely about, because I try to be a safe space for everyone. I also don't hold punches. I tell you. Right? The reason why we're here is because a certain segment of society, was othering other groups. And they were so much pining for the downfall of other groups that now they've caused themselves a hardship and others. So I'm not going to hold you and say that shit ain't true, right? Because it is. But two things could be true at the same time. And we can allow that. We can make room for that. We can understand that. Right? Are the most of us not going to be really trusting right now? You're damn right. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every person that we come across, we believe has ill intent. I'll say that. Okay. Lorraine, I'm struggling to last another day, even if it leaves this ache, pain. It's daily, every night for months. I am barely managing. I just can't put into words what I mean. Right. And I was saying you should probably go back to the beginning of this live. And I was actually talking about that and about how we needed to do like a spiritual cleansing tonight, while we still have this Leo full moon energy from yesterday, and clear away some of that energy so that we can start moving forward. It's going to be challenging all the way to April. If you put that in your mindset, it will be easier to navigate. That shit may sound far. It's about 8 weeks away. It ain't that far. Okay. So we just have to use this time to really feel the feels and where they come from. Okay, food, hunger, and baby. Okay, so hardships have to kick in. Okay, a lot of the things that are transpiring right now, they haven't matriculated completely. They haven't hit all the way to the things that they're going to manifest. Okay, so in other words, you intend to cut money from the US aid, right? Thinking, well, we're giving that money to other places, but a large part of that goes to US farmers so they can grow crops to give to those, right? So you see how you will hurt our own supply, right? So what was meant to bring pain and discomfort to others, the side effects have not matriculated. And some of the people that voted for that, and they might be some of them might be talking about the fuck around and find out online, but it has not hit to the full magnitude, right? And the baby, right? And the children, and love for, for normal people, love for children is universal. So what is this saying? This is saying that wait till the kids, wait till there's no board of education, wait till, we live in a different time. Let me just say this, okay? There was a time where most households were two-parent households, and the father worked and the mother stood home. And so if there was no schooling, then there was, right? Now we have a lot of fathers, single dads raising kids. We got a lot of single moms. It's the only income in the house. What's going to happen when those parents can't send their kids to school? What's going to happen when, people are leaving their kids in cars because they have to make money because they're going to get evicted? All these things, all the horror stories are going to start to come out. Spirit is saying. Okay. People's finances is going to be, right? Galactic and trees. I feel like this galactic and trees, this goes back to the coding within us, where we're being reminded, I remember the way, right? To plant. Survival skills, right? Celtic, male and female. I'm getting the promise ring here. Okay, the Celtic promise ring, right? And I feel like I said, there's some kind of return to relationships or something like that. Okay. But some of the bills that are being put, okay. Some of the bills that are being put to control women, I feel like that's the segment that are not going to comply. Okay, they're going to not want to get married. Then I feel like the other segment that is meant to not pull together and fall apart is the segment that's going to pull together. I'm going to leave it there, guys. We've been here for an hour and a half and I'm starving. I need to go have lunch. But I just wanted to do a little check-in with you guys and remind you to, take care of yourself, allow yourself to feel the sadness, the anger, right? Process it, because by April, we're going to be moving forward and it's going to be moving fast. Okay. So clean up those areas that, are being triggered right now. All right, guys. I'm wishing you light and love and blessings on blessings. Bye. guys.